What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hanging out in the garage again, getting things dialed in, getting tackle reorganized. I mean, this is the busy part of the season for me in the garage. You guys know it's the off season from the tournaments. I'm in the middle of getting everything together for my new boat. That's gonna be coming here soon, so we're gonna have some cool videos on that. We got some big announcements on the new boat as well, so it's pretty cool things happening with the new boat. So excited to share that news with you. That's coming here soon. But today I was just out here messing around a little bit in the boat, and I figured I'd give you guys my top 5 accessories that I feel like you got to keep in the boat. You know, these are things that are in addition to your obvious pliers, scissors, that kind of stuff. Those are an absolute must. You should never go in the boat without them. But I come up with 5 other things that I think everybody should keep in the boat. It makes life easier, and in case of emergency for a few things, and just definitely want to have these 5 things in your boat. Makes your life so much easier on the water. So let's jump right in. All right, guys, so you've seen me mention this if you watched my Christmas buying guide video, but you gotta keep a scale in your boat. You know, I've been messing around with this one right here. This is the Bubba Pro tournament scale right here. This is the scale that we're using on the Bass Pro Tour from now on, and really like this scale. You know, it's super fast turning on. That's one of my biggest complaints about other scales is it takes forever. It may only be a couple seconds, but whenever you're in a hurry and you want to weigh a fish and get back in the water, it just seems like it takes those couple extra seconds to turn off and on. And this one turns off and on really quick. You know, I'm not sponsored by Bubba or anything. I'm just really impressed with this scale right here. And you always want to have a scale in the boat. You never know when you're going to catch that giant fish, you know, your personal best or just a giant fish, and you want to know the weight of. If you don't have a scale in the boat, you're not going to be able to tell. So having a scale in the boat is an absolute must. You know, I see some people, they don't want to have a scale in their boat so they can tell the fish story about how big the fish was without any factual evidence. But for me, I want to know the exact weight, and that's why I keep this Bubba scale in my boat all the time. You know, there's some cool options on here. You know, you can put fish in different buckets. You can keep track of your best 5. You can keep track of your whole day's catch. So if you weigh every fish on here, when you have it in rally mode, it keeps track of every fish. So you know exactly how many fish you caught throughout the day and the total weight of all those fish. So there's a lot of cool things you can do with it. And it's a pretty cool scale, and it will always be in my boat, no matter what. All right, next up, this is just a little tool from Cuda. And this is for your wacky rigging. So this is, you know, you guys know I love to throw a wacky rig Senko. And this thing makes it so nice and convenient to put your O-rings on. So you can see that you can actually store them on the arm of the plier like that. But you slide one off, I got one right here in my hand, and you just put it on there, open it up, and then you can slide your Senko in there and get a O-ring on it for your wacky rig. So it's a pretty cool little tool. You just slide the Senko in there just like that, pull him just about to where you want him, pop them off, and just like that you got an O-ring on your Senko. You know, it's going to save you some baits because it, you know, as the bait tears up, that O-ring is going to save it and keep your worm on the hook. You're able to get more fish per bait, save more baits. It's just a win-win from this cheap little tool right here from Cuda. It's definitely makes your life easier if you're throwing a lot of wacky rig, Nico rig, that kind of stuff. Anything you want to put an O-ring on, this little tool, super cool, handy. Like I said, you can keep all your O-rings on there. Just throw it in a compartment somewhere in your boat out of the way. It doesn't take up much space, and it's going to save you a bunch of money in the long run. It'll pay for the tool in no time. I promise you that. So it's a super cool little thing from Cuda right there. Let's see, next up, going along with the Cuda stuff, this right here is a hook sharpener. So I can't tell you how many times you'll get You know, a lot of baits with treble hooks you can replace, but if you got like a good jig or a chatterbait, for instance, I got a chatterbait laying right here. After you catch a few fish on it, you know, this is a pretty expensive bait, so you don't want to trash it. All you need is a little hook sharpener, and you can just sharpen that hook up, run it through there, and keep that hook pristine, like brand new. So this thing right here, they're super cheap, and it'll save you all your good high-end chatterbaits, jigs, buzz baits, all that kind of stuff with one single hook, spinner baits. You know, you don't want to trash the entire bait, but you want to keep that hook super sharp so you're not going to lose those fish. And this little hook sharpener from Cuda right here does just that. So that's a must-have in my boat. I will always have a hook sharpener. You never know when you're going to have to just touch up a hook a little bit. And you know, like I said, save your expensive baits. So you don't want to be wasting money. And this little tool right here will save you a bunch of money. All right, next up, kind of going along with chatterbaits, jigs, spinner baits, super glue. I will never, ever be found without super glue in my boat. You know, I glue all of my trailers onto my baits. So I really like the Gorilla Glue. I find that it really works the best. It dries really fast. It holds really strong. It doesn't make a mess. You know, the cool thing about this particular bottle of super glue is there's a needle actually in the cap. So every time you tighten it down, it plugs the hole where the super glue comes out. So it's not going to get clogged up and dried up and everything. So I will always have super glue in my boat. It just makes my life so much easier. Gluing my trailers on. You can glue up your fingers if you have to, if you're bleeding after catching so many fish. I mean, so many things you can do with super glue. It's just a must-have. Always going to have super glue in my boat. All right, lastly, this is for more of your emergency situations, and that is a pair of hook cutters. So these are the Cuda hook cutters right here. You know, if for some reason you get a hook into your hand or tied up somewhere that it shouldn't be, if you don't have a good pair of hook cutters, you could be ending your day of fishing. You could be in a world of hurting. So having a good pair of cutters that will actually cut a hook, you know, not just line cutters. This right here is designed to cut hooks. So if you got a treble hook in your hand, you can cut off the other 2 points and then pop that hook out of your hand without having to worry about getting another hook in your hand or something like that. So having a good pair of hook cutters is super important. Always going to have them in my boat. More for just an emergency situation, but got to have them in your boat. So that's about it, guys. I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you can use a little bit of this information and hopefully make your day on the water a little bit easier. But appreciate you guys watching. Leave me those likes and comments down below, and we'll see you guys next time.